Alright guys, today I'm going to be reviewing Steel Curtain. This is the 2019 S&S Hyper Coaster located at Kennywood. It has the record for most inversions on any coaster in North America. And before we get into this, can I just say real quick, I literally barely rode this coaster. I was waiting in a 2.5 hour long line. Yes, it took around 2 to 2.5 hours for me to get on this thing, and it was a long, drawn-out wait. And literally, right as I got off that coaster and I exited that plaza, they literally shut the coaster down. I barely got on this thing. I was so lucky. I only got one ride on it, but I don't care. At least I rode it. I barely did. It was so freaking close. Oh my gosh. Let's talk about the actual coaster. So, Steel Curtain is, of course, themed to the Steelers, the Pittsburgh football team, you know. It has a black and yellow color scheme. The supports are yellow and the track is black. I think that is really cool, very smart. And the seats on the trains look like football, so that's really cool. And the front of the train also has a number 33 on it. I don't really watch the NFL, so I'm not sure who that is, but I think these trains look really, really cool. This coaster uses restraints that look similar to RMC restraints. They kind of have the shin guards and then the lap bar, of course. And what you hold on to actually is kind of like motorcycle grips. So I think that's really cool. These restraints, I liked these restraints. They were pretty good. They weren't my favorite or anything, but I might have liked them a little more than the RMC restraints, even though they're pretty similar, you know. And like I said, I waited in a 2-hour line for this coaster. It was crazy. Oh my gosh. I still can't believe I barely got on this ride. I almost didn't ride Steel Curtain. The ride that I went up 4.5 hours to get on mainly, I barely got on it. That would have literally sucked. But yeah, we waited 2 hours, and I think part of the reason why is because this thing has disgusting operations. I mean trash. The operations on this ride are just bad. They were taking at least 2 minutes to dispatch trains. It was crazy bad. I would have only had to wait like an hour and 30 minutes or maybe even an hour if they were fast with their operations. They just are so slow. At a few points, they were dispatching trains within 3 to 4 minutes, and I was like, this is getting ridiculous. Are you kidding me? But let's get away from the cons and actually go through the ride experience. So you're going to start going up that lift hill. And by the way, this is a really slow lift hill. I really hate that about this coaster. But actually, when it gets to the angle where it's like at 50 degrees, it starts to kind of speed up a little. So that's fine. And a fun fact, this coaster also plays Renegade going up the lift hill, so I thought that was really cool. You can't really hear it when you're at the top, but it's just a neat little feature right there since it's kind of a tribute to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then you're going to crest over the top, and you are going to head into your first drop, which is insane. This drop was so good. I'm not going to lie, I was a tad disappointed with it because I thought it would give a little more hang time, or I thought it would feel bigger than it actually was. When you go down that drop, it doesn't really feel like a hyper drop. I mean, yeah, it's really big, and you're up there and you're like, whoa, this is huge, but it just didn't feel as big as it looked off rides. Oh, and by the way, my one ride on this coaster, I got very front, so this whole experience was really cool. Anyway, you're going to go into a slight turn to the left where you're going to hit your top speed of 75 miles per hour. It is really fast. You truly feel that speed. There's a little bit of force down there at the bottom of the drop, but you're really more focused on how fast you're going. It was blitzing through that section. Then you'll head up into one of the signature elements of the ride, which is the banana roll. I was kind of disappointed with this. It wasn't as good as I thought it would be. I mean, it was still kind of cool. I like whack things like that, but it wasn't as good as I thought it would be. Then you're going to go into your first Airtime Hill, and this was actually really good. I got a nice moment of ejector. It was not long-lasting at all. Like, it was really quick. It was over super fast, but you felt it, and you're like, whoa, that was cool. And then you'll go into one of my favorite parts of the ride, which is this double corkscrew section, or whatever you want to call it. It was really cool. Not that forceful. I mean, you kind of felt it going upwards into it, but it was actually surprising because it just felt disorienting. I really liked this part of the ride. After this, you'll go into a sustained Airtime Hill, which it's actually really good ejector. It is pretty decent, actually. It is not the strongest airtime in the world, but it's really sustained, and I liked it. It was a pretty good moment of the ride. I was actually expecting this to be my favorite part, but it just wasn't. I really didn't think it was the best part of the ride. Then you're going to go into this dive loop, which when you're entering it, you actually get some ejector. It's really unexpected and a very cool moment. You'll actually go into a straightaway before hitting it, which is, in my opinion, the most intense part of the ride. This freaking cutback, holy crap, this was so aggressive. And it's funny because a lot of us actually thought that this was going to be sort of a stall thing at first, like that it was going to give some hang time. That was a while back, but no, it literally whipped straight through it. The pacing on this ride is incredible. It is so whippy, and it's over really quickly. It just slams you to the right and then right back to the left. It is such a freaking crazy element. Then you're going to go up into a little step-up Airtime Hill where you get some more ejector. I was like, there's actually some decent ejector on this ride. I like it. You'll hit a corkscrew, which is, okay, before going into this downwards helix and hitting your second sort of cutback element. This one was definitely not as good as the first. It was okay. I really didn't care for it. And then you're going to swoop down and hop into the brakes, where you get another little ejector pop. Which, that's one thing I like about this ride. There are a lot of hidden little ejector moments that you're not going to expect. Especially when you're going up into that dive loop. That was a really cool moment. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the ride, and then you're going to sit on the brake run for a few minutes because these operations are absolutely trash. Overall, this ride was really smooth. I did get a front row ride. I didn't ride it in the back, so I don't know the rattle situation. Personally, I don't think it would bother me at all if it did have a rattle, because I'm not one to complain about that stuff at all. But I rode the front row, and from my experience on that, it was perfectly smooth. Definitely one of the smoothest coasters I've ridden. I think it was pretty forceful in some areas. I really liked the G-forces on some of those inversions, and I really liked how intense that cutback was right after the dive loop. That was really freaking good. There were some nice airtime moments here and there. That sustained hill was pretty cool. I liked that. It was a mix of Flowjector. And overall, I thought Steel Curtain was really fun. Now, was it as good as I thought it was going to be? Not really. I still think I liked it enough. It's definitely in my top 10. But it wasn't quite as insane as I was thinking it was going to be. And that's totally fine, because it was still a really awesome ride. This is a great hyper coaster. Would I say it was worth the almost 2.5 hour wait? No, I definitely don't think so. But I'm still really happy I did it. Like, I wasn't angry. Because it's a giant hyper coaster. It's of course going to be really fun. It's a really good ride. So we have come to the final score overall, and I'm going to be giving it an 8.5 out of 10. There's really nothing wrong with this ride. It's just that it's not as insane as you'd be expecting. Like, you're going in, you're like, wow, this thing is so fast. It has so many elements. It's probably going to be one of the best coasters out there. That's what it looks like off-ride. Then when you ride it, you're like, wow, that was really fun, but not as insane as I thought. And some people are going to like this more than others, and I guess I get that. It is a massive scaled ride, and the pacing is absolutely phenomenal. This is definitely one of the best paced rides I've ever ridden. It has speed all the way up until the end. It literally flies into that brake run. The cutback was one of the most whippy elements I've ever experienced on any coaster, so that was really awesome. There are some cool airtime moments here and there. That drop was really good. A tad disappointing, but I still liked it. It's probably one of my favorite drops. So overall, should you go out to Kennywood just to ride Steel Curtain, don't just go here for Steel Curtain. You're going to want to hit up Phantom's Revenge too, because I'll have a review coming out for that ride soon, and that is also a great hyper coaster. So Kennywood has a really good top 2 going for them. Steel Curtain alone is a really fun ride. I only got one ride on this coaster, so I'm thinking if I go back and get more rides on it, and maybe if I even ride it at night, get a few back row rides on it, try it in different seats, I'll like it even more. But I'm glad I got the front row because I got to take in the whole experience. I do remember this coaster very well, like it was yesterday. But even after one ride, I definitely remember my experience fairly well. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Post your comments down in the section below. Have you ridden Steel Curtain, and what are your thoughts on it? Did you agree with my review? And don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, coaster fans, I will see you later.